Hello, my friends! This is a look at some of the worst and most misunderstood game consoles of all time. I'm excited to see what beautiful selection of consoles y'all have put together for me. I don't know that I know what this is. Is this a Steam machine? Is this the original Steam machine? You know, the prototype for the Steam Deck that came out 2014, something like that?
Yeah.
Holy.
See? We knew you'd get it.
You probably know SteamOS as the beautiful operating system that runs all your favorite games on the Steam Deck and is lovely and delightful and everyone wants it. But back in 2014 when Valve announced this, it was a weird version of Linux with a Steam skin on top of it. And while they announced hardware like this, which was the Alienware Steam Machine, the downside was that SteamOS was just not ready. Do you know, how much was this when it was new?
It was like somewhere in the $400 to $600 range if you wanted to get the controller with it, if you wanted to get Steam Link with it, all that kind of stuff.
So on back, this is like a regular looking PC. You got a couple of HDMI in and out. Back when, you remember, the Xbox One had the HDMI in for like your TV and stuff. This also had it. You have Ethernet, a couple of USBs, a couple more on the front, and that's it. Oh yeah, there you go. You can see the spec right there. A beautiful Intel Core i3 processor. Okay, so let me do this. Let me fire this thing up. I'm assuming it's running Windows, see what it'll do. But I actually want to try to load up a copy of SteamOS and see what the future was like back when it was terrible. Remember when the future was going to be terrible? Look at us now, we live in utopia. So, this is proving to be a pain. Let me show you how far we've got it. So, when I fire up the Steam machine, we do have a copy of SteamOS running on this system. The exact build is, we think 2015-ish. It takes a minute. It works until it doesn't. Now, before this point, we actually did have an actual like desktop booted, and then when it went to go do the next phase, which was to install like big picture mode and everything, that is where the install is borked because you can see now it's a black screen. I don't think the drivers like the fact that this is so old. Okay, well, what can we say about this? It was ahead of its time in many ways, and it probably should have been running Windows 8.1 forever, and
Steam works on Windows.
Maybe. You mean I shouldn't have uninstalled the Windows 10 from the beginning and just loaded Steam and put big picture mode and pretended it worked the whole time?
Yeah, probably.
You know what? If I don't play the game, I haven't been defeated. So that's a life lesson for you kids. Don't try. You'll get far.
No, I don't think that's how that works. I think it's the opposite.
Well, they didn't really try hard with this, so.
What? I tried.
No, but they didn't.
Ah, well.
Can I get an Ouya?
Ouya.
What? Oh my God, it's an Ouya! Holy balls! Okay, I got a story about the Ouya. This was a micro console back when those were popular from 2013, I think. And a reason why I really think about the Ouya is that it was one of the early Kickstarters. This was a huge Kickstarter back in the day. And I remember that I bought one, I pre-ordered one in 2013, and it didn't show up until about a week after my house burned down. So I remember the FedEx guy called me saying, hey, I'm trying to deliver, but I don't think this address is good. And he was trying to drop it off on the ashes of my apartment. So I did one of my first videos after the fire was a review of the Ouya.
Industry. Ouya. With over 600 games free to try, there's something for everyone.
A new kind of game console. Plug this little box into your big bad TV and boom, your living room just became a living, breathing library of hundreds of games that can be downloaded and played instantly. Oh, wow. So, this is the Ouya itself, which is a delightful little micro console. Just has what you need. So you got micro USB, HDMI, Ethernet, USB, and power. And then you had one of the worst, most uncomfortable controllers that just is thin, oh, dude, I haven't touched with these in so long. It brings me right back. It even has OUYA as your buttons because who wants to be a conformist? God, I forgot how terrible this thing is. And then I think you had to like, how'd you charge it?
The back looks AI generated, dude.
Yeah, it's like we forgot to load the texture on this.
Do you want to guess how many units were sold? There actually is a number.
200,000. A pretty decent amount for something like this.
That is correct.
Really?
It was around 200,000 total units
which is good, but the thing is they overhyped this thing like it was gonna be the next Nintendo Switch before the Switch came out. I guess the next Wii U. No.
Well, it's about as powerful as the Switch today.
How dare you.
Actually, it kind of is because it runs
Tegra.
off the Tegra 3.
Yep, Tegra. Yeah. I was like,
Matt tells no lies.
all right, let's see if this still works and if I can find some non-2013 batteries to load up in here. Let's hope this little guy still works. Oh, I hear it spinning. A baby little fan? Yup, brother, come on, give it to me.
Yikes.
Yes!
Yikes.
Oh, look at these, look at all these games that I have already loaded up on here. All right, let's start out with Bomb Squad. Bomb Squad was one of the Ouya exclusive games, I think. Oh, this is not the way I thought this was gonna go.
This really is a Nintendo Switch game.
It actually does not look bad. It don't look bad. All right, let's try. What else do I have on this guy?
Oh,
hell
Need
yeah,
for
brother.
Speed Hot Pursuit? Wow.
This thing, considering that it was $100, right? $100.
It was
including controller?
$100 retail when they bought it.
Like,
yes.
this had actually like a good amount of performance for the time. Here's the thing. There's no start and select on this controller. I can't advance.
Oh no, this controller that's not meant for this game doesn't work with it.
Okay, look, here's the thing. The Ouya was a very cool idea. Now, the concept of micro consoles sadly did not catch on, even though there was a lot of merit to something that was very affordable, that could plug into your TV, that had some level of performance. But the Ouya was way too ambitious. They just ran out of money before they actually could do anything. And the fact that all the games had to be free to try meant that most people just didn't buy anything, and the whole thing fell under. That being said, I recall this being dumb and silly. This is actually not that bad. It's okay adjacent. Does that box have a handle? Did you just bring that to me on a handle? All right, we have ourselves ActionMax Sonic Fury.
Yeah, woo!
Okay, boys, let's kick some.
How's action from KB Toys?
Yeah.
This is the first real action game system. Everything is included. Turn your TV and VHS, VCR into the hottest live action stereo experience. Is this a VHS game?
Yeah, buddy.
F tier next.
What?
No.
So this apparently comes with the base unit, which is a central unit that connects you to the action. Then you have a game pistol. You also have a score signal, stereo headphones, and the game video, aka the VHS. All right, let's see what we got here. Well, this is very nicely packaged. So we do have our stereo headphones, which actually look like they're pretty nicely. Well,
This looks like it has never been used.
I mean, fair.
I kind of think that's actually true because like I'm peeling it out of the styrofoam for the first time. I actually do think that this maybe actually is brand new. Alrighty, we also have our ActionMax Sonic Fury, which has live action and stereo sound.
Gee, I
Cool.
wonder what country the enemy fighters are from
Canada.
in
The Canadians are
in the
invading.
1980s.
It's Canada, trust me. So, I'm gonna use my big old brain to try to figure out how this thing works. So you have a headphone jack, you have your gun here, you have your beeper here, and you have something else here. You have a stereo and mono switch, and then you can switch the players, how many players, your volume. Is this just like, oh, and it also, oh no. Oh,
I hate this already.
4C batteries! Wow, that's not good. All right, after providing our own power adapter, the ActionMax is much happier. So the gun doesn't work very well. It basically, like most of the time I pull the trigger, it stays stuck.
And points will be deducted. Lieutenant, this is where we found out of your
Oh!
Sonic Fury.
Wait a minute. Oh no. Oh no.
Oh, gee! Wait, no!
I wouldn't play that anymore because the next thing they're gonna do, they're gonna call Ken a slur.
Oh, it lit up! Wait!
It's
It
working.
actually works! Oh, wait!
Control scrap meat about flying it. Move
Oh, wait, I actually got one. Okay.
We're back in business. Right.
Oh, it's completely jammed now. It's broken. Okay, I get the idea that game graphics of the time were distinctly 8-bit, So having live action video and some interactive elements is cool. I also think that maybe we should play a different game.
I could throw you this one, right? We don't care if this one dies.
What is that? Is that the G Cloud? That is not a console. That's not a console.
It's lighter
Not
than
console.
air. I'm not gonna throw it.
That is not a console.
I don't trust.
What do you mean
your-
that's not a console?
It's not a console.
It's every console.
Yeah, how many games can it play?
This
Games on that.
is a very recent console, which is the Logitech G Cloud.
Stream a ridiculous amount of games from Xbox and NVIDIA GeForce Now with Logitech G Cloud.
It looks like your ROG Ally, Steam Deck, Switch. However, this has a major advantage. It runs Android. It also has a major disadvantage. It has the specs of a left testicle.
What is wrong with you?
So the idea here is that you can cloud game away on this tiny little piece of hardware. But the problem is the price, which this thing was $350 when it came out. Like basically the same price as the Steam Deck, except the Steam Deck could play actual games and not just cloud games. This thing has also been on sale, but here's the thing, as of recording this video, they still haven't sold out of this yet. The thing is, yes, you can go into the Play Store, you can download some games, but I will tell you, good luck trying to play any kind of somewhat graphically demanding game. Now that I've logged into GeForce Now, my credentials have expired.
Didn't you just log in?
I did just log in. Now, I will say, out of the various cloud streaming services, I typically like GeForce Now because not only do they have a good amount of servers so that you're usually not too far away, but the important thing is if you go for the ultimate tier, you actually can get a pretty decent experience. So it'll stream, I think it's either 120 or like 144 hertz, which obviously with a 60 hertz display, I'm not really fully taking advantage of. But if you do have a high refresh rate display, that does cut down the latency quite significantly. Oh my God, I got logged into Steam again! I just logged into Steam, I gotta do it again!
This is fun.
I love cloud
having
gaming,
fun.
it's so great. It's my favorite friggin' thing. Now, even though it seems like it's a whole thing, it is instantly installed. So now I couldn't install it. What?
Dude,
Oh.
dude, this is painful.
It's gonna be really fun eventually on my G Cloud.
In case the editors cut this all out for those watching at home, we've been here for like 20 minutes waiting for him to get this up and running.
You're not wrong. All right, let's take a look at the latency. So, not terrible,
Well,
although
the
stuttery.
the choppiness is not great.
But latency, that's not bad. The thing is, when you're playing cloud gaming, especially if you're not on like a super close server, to me it always feels like you like don't have like game mode on your TV. Like there's latency, but it's not terrible. The thing that bothers me more about cloud gaming typically is the inconsistency. I can adjust to maybe the game running a little bit slower, my inputs aren't super snappy, that's fine. But when it goes like fast and slow, rubber banding, like that kind of stuff, when your little sister starts playing Hulu on your Wi-Fi and ruins your connection, this is not a bad experience. But I'll tell you, it's definitely not a good experience for GeForce Now, just because GeForce Now should be running at a higher frame rate, and this is capping me at 60.
Yeah, and not in Virginia.
Yeah, look, it's just literally dropping frames right now. I still do not think this should be classified as a console, but I also say it's not a good deal, so it's bad, no matter how you say it.
Oh my God, that was such an easy throw.
No, I was gonna
You
catch it.
fumbled that worse than
and no.
Stadia fumbled Stadia.
No, I saw what it was. I didn't want to touch it. Do we have to do this one? Come on. No one wants to talk about Google Stadia, right?
Forget boxes, forget consoles, just your games, your screens, and electric air. And this electric air is Stadia.
We'll keep this one real brief because my esteemed friends and colleagues, Stadia is no longer with us, and because they turned off the servers and they threw them all in the e-waste bin, it is impossible to show. However, maybe once upon a time, a certain Austin Evans was a little excited for Stadia and maybe did a video on it, saying it was going to be good.
Yeah, that they paid you for because they sponsored you.
Because I was excited for it, and I thought it was maybe going to be good, and then
you wanted to get paid. We wanted to keep the lights on.
Look, here's the thing. We all make mistakes in life, and I thought the Stadia was going to be successful. And maybe I was wrong. The concept with Stadia was not wildly different than something like GeForce Now, and that there were a bunch of servers in the cloud.
Yes, it was. It was very different.
I'm getting to that. you could play games from anywhere. So one of the Founders Kit and some of these things, it came with a Stadia controller which connected directly via Wi-Fi for faster latency, ahead of its time. But the biggest issue was that unlike something like GeForce Now, which is essentially just you renting a PC in the cloud, Stadia was a dedicated console in the cloud, meaning that you had to rebuy all your games for Stadia. While I cannot do anything besides show you some gameplay of yesteryear when Stadia was still a thing, I'm gonna do what I should have done a long time ago. I'm going to update my controllers so it can live on and I can still live the Stadia life while I'm playing Xbox games in 2025. Play wirelessly with Bluetooth. Switch your Stadia controller to Bluetooth mode to keep gaming wirelessly on your favorite devices after Stadia shuts down. That was a long time ago, but okay, let's do it. It is, oh my God, I need to charge the controller battery. Even in death, Stadia is incredibly annoying. Look, I feel like I don't miss Stadia, but I miss what it could have been, which is someone who actually gave a real try to making cloud gaming good. Except that everyone quickly realized that cloud gaming was not good and that the laws of physics are immutable. Oh, Virtual Boy! Now this is not a failed console. The Virtual Boy was a noted success that was so popular that Nintendo lost money on it and immediately discontinued it, and it was a complete flop, but it was also really cool. Behold, our Virtual Boy.
It came from the third dimension. There's only one problem. It needs your eyes. Virtual Boy. See it now in 3D.
The problem is I know our Virtual Boy is a little bit broken because even though the console itself works, it's basically a VR headset, for those who don't know, that was about 15 years too early. But the problem is that the stand we have, it's a little bit janky in that it doesn't actually hold the Virtual Boy upright.
I also think you're like, oh yeah, this is VR. That is a very generous way to describe. Did you just break it?
No, I did not. Actually, was what it's supposed to sound like.
Oh God.
Behold, my friends, the Virtual Boy. Dude, it's a little crooked. But come on, boys, we're all a little crooked sometimes, right? I like how everyone made the same noise at the same time.
Because what were you expecting? Why would you even ask that?
Why, hello there. Look at our fully functional Virtual Boy now that we bought a controller and power adapter on eBay. Most people think this is bad. I am not one of those people. I have an irrational love of this goofy red VR headset from the mid-90s, solid 25 years before it was really ready to go. Now, I will say that as a VR headset that sadly lacks an HDMI port, I'm gonna have to describe to you what I'm seeing. It's gonna be a beautiful world filled with black and red. End of list. But what I will do is I will try to capture some gameplay without my eyeballs in the way. Uh-oh, wait. The left eye don't work. Yeah, no, the left screen is totally just broken. Okay, so I'm seeing Mario, he's serving toward me. This would look great in 3D, except it's not in 3D. Okay, so here comes the ball and serve it right back. Okay, I am currently playing, okay, Yoshi got me here. But I will say, the 3D capabilities, when they work, aren't bad. You do get an actual stereoscopic image, so each eye does see it from a different perspective. And while the screen is a little dim, the contrast is actually not bad. Like the red and the black, it's quite reasonable looking. Look, this was a failure. This was an absolute failure of a device. They sold like 20 of these things to like Blockbusters where you could rent them, and they only had like a small amount of games. However, it's a little rudimentary, and I will say that it's best used in small doses. If I was a little 6-year-old Austin and I was like, oh boy, and I rented it from Blockbuster, maybe a few hours in, my prescription would have needed to be upped. But you know, with a little bit of eye damage for children. Children used to work in the mines.
They yearn for them.
They yearn for the mines.
Look at that. That was like a good tennis analogy because I chucked it up and y'all just went.
Love.